Shouts out Big Steve.
Welcome to another episode of the Big Brain MMA, episode 121. I'm your host, like always, Big Steve. We are here to try and make money on a MMA weekend this week. Big UFC card, UFC 299, O'Malley versus Chito Vera 2, and a bunch of regionals, right? Last week, let's do a recap. Didn't make much money, unfortunately, but we also lost just a little bit. We had a half unit loss on the UFC. Another tough card. A lot of tough cards recently. Passed on Loic, even though I kind of liked him. I was looking at the Klein KO on a late Australian book, Blue Bet. I picked him for a while. Didn't touch it. So, a couple of missed opportunities. Then had a great bet on Christian Leroy Duncan. I had Bud KO at plus money. I found barely plus money. And then, I had $100 on his round two. So a third of a unit, $500, 400 KO, 100 at round two at $6.60. So I won 900 and something there. Then, I had an early Javid Basharat unanimous decision line on Blue Bet again. I mean, his decision was minus money. I thought if this goes to a decision, with the volume and the way Zahabi fights, it's going to be a unanimous. There was no way this is going to be a split. And it was unanimous, but it was for Zahabi. Props to the people that had a good read on Zahabi. I just thought he was going to be hittable, Basharat, but I didn't think he was going to lose a volume fight, and then last minute after that, I also got greedy. So I parlayed him in a square parlay with Vinicius Oliveira Sopai, ends in KO. Obviously that lost. So that was like over $1,000 that I lost there. And then I went back to the well and played $1,000 on the Oliveira Sopai fight, ends in KO as a single, 1,000 to win 600, which won. Nothing on Anders. I played, a third of a unit on Urseg finish against Schnell at almost pick'em. Then I played the same on Umar, $500 and lost. Then I played the same on Mokaev, half a unit, 750 and lost. Nothing on the Petrino fight. And I was a little bit down, 600. And then obviously I had a whole unit on Gaziev early, which, the more the week went on, even though I had heaps of CLB, I didn't really like. So I hedged a little bit, a third of a unit, $500 on Rosenstruck, just in case we didn't get a live bet opportunity. And obviously, Gaziev won round one. There was a good live bet. I didn't add any more. And I contemplated, I actually liked how Gaziev was fighting. I thought, if he got that takedown in round two, things would have got better. But, he wasn't exerting too much energy. His chin was holding up. I thought he could maybe, strike. But props to Jairzinho, had a mean jab. And, a bit of a shitty bet, to be honest. And then I had Jairzinho, I had Gaziev, one takedown, half a unit to win 585 on Neds. So I lost pretty much exactly half a unit there. Not too bad. Could have been better. I was having a lot of pokes, a lot of finish pokes, on Duncan, on Urseg, on Umar, on Mokaev. Could have had some on Klein as well. Half them hit, half them didn't. So is what it is. And then, I had a big dog poke on Octagon, on Langer against Torres. I thought that was a great bet at $3.60, but he compromised his leg in round one and he was still getting positions on Torres. Had half a unit on Nafuka against my Serbian guy, Bogdanovic. That was a horrible bet. I avoided it all week, taped it 3 times, and still made the mistake. And then I poked a couple of dogs on one to lose half a unit. So not too bad, 2,400. Started off March on a loss, but it's not going to be a big deal. It's not even 2 units. We have a profit this week, and we'll finish on profit for March. Not a problem at all. All right, let's go through the comments. James didn't like any of my takes this week. Well, I haven't listened to any of James's appearances, so we'll see what he says. What's up, TG? You might be new here. Welcome. Dad, good luck this week. Good luck this week, Dad. I'll give you my picks if I'm confident. All right. James has the invitation, so he was going to be my special guest. He hasn't been here in a while, but we usually have good pods, so I'll get going and he will jump in when he jumps in. I'm on a tight schedule. Joanne Wood versus Marina Moroz. This is a dog or pass. I do favor Marina, although I can't play this line. I can't play the dog either just because it's a retirement fight. Joanne is known to look for the door even when she's not retiring. Grasso sub at $13 was one of my favorite pokes. And, obviously if Marina gets a takedown here, it's hard to not imagine that she loses at some point or gets subbed. So I was actually surprised at the sub price on Marina Moroz. Obviously the decision is favored. But yeah, Moroz does have dreadful wrestling. I'll just say that. She cage pushes for a super long time. It does seem a little bit improved. Improved in the Buena Silva and Agapova fight. Yeah, it's a dog or pass, or Marina, some sort of sub poke. Nothing as of yet. CJ Vergara versus Atsu Almabayev. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say dog or pass here, but I'm not really interested in CJ Vergara. I know a bunch of people think he's a good dog. They're not impressed with Asu, but as what I've seen is, yeah, he might be unimpressive on the feet. He'll do his thing, and the takedowns will be there. CJ doesn't have the best takedown defense. He also gives his back up a lot, even against Clayton and even against that Bam Lacerda in round 2 after he was slowing down. He stuffs the takedown, but he just turns his back and he puts himself in a calf slicer. That's 2 fights that he's done that. So he's not really technically sound when it comes to stuffing takedowns and avoiding his back getting taken. So, I know people have played the over here. The over is nice money. And it's the over 2.5 is a pick'em. I have that as accurate. It's basically, do you think Asa will sub CJ or do you think CJ will make it to a decision? So it's either the over there or Asu by sub is horrible. Truly a terrible number, barely plus money. I would just maybe look at maybe 2 or 3 or something and then hope for the best that he doesn't get submitted in round 2. I know someone that's playing the decision. He showed me this fight on regionals for Asu. I think one before the Makovsky fight or 2 before the Makovsky fight, where he just sits in his guard for 3 rounds. That would be the case if CJ did that, but he gives his back. He looks for a stand up and he gives his back, kind of like Ode. So it just depends when he's going to give his back and will he survive if that happens. Yeah, sub or go the distance here. Alrighty, we've got a special guest, James. Made it nice and early. How are you, sir?
I got to be on time to the podcast, bro. So I thought I'd show up early here. And yeah, man, ready to get into it, bro. Thanks for having me on as always. Sorry I'm late.
No, it's no dramas, bro. I'm used to it. You've been on my show a few times. It's always a few minutes late, but that's how it is, man. Rich people run on their own time.
I'm like that in real life as well, bro. Always turn up late, and that it's a bad trait, but I'm doing all right. So
I'm the opposite, but look, we gamble for a living, man. We can afford to start when we feel like it. That's one of the benefits, I guess.
Yeah.
We don't have a meeting to go to.
Exactly. So let's go. We're talking about this fight, or shall I cover the others?
Oh, I just finished up, but I literally said, as you know, I'm trying to do like a new thing for this pod where we just talk about the plays that I would play, so we're not waffling on. I literally just said it was dog or pass for the female fight or Moroz submission, which it's hard for me to get behind the dog, right, when she's retiring. And for this fight, I know a lot of people like CJ. I can't do it myself. He's a guy that comes on strong, and if he's coming on strong, I'll just lie bet him. I just feel like the takedowns will be there, and he loves to give his back up. So it's either go the distance, which is plus money if you think CJ can survive the 3-round wrestle, or some sort of sub variation for Asu.
Yeah, I agree on both. Like, I wasn't interested in playing Moreau's fight, but when I saw the hashtags on Instagram, Joanne Wood saying last one, best one, basically saying she's retiring, I thought, all right, maybe I might do something with Moreau's because she's already subbed her once. She's been subbed in the first round 5 times, quite a lot. She got finished by Rose in an exhibition match as well. She got submitted there, I think, or Crucifix, one of those. So maybe I'll play Moreau's sub or something. I was on Couch Warriors podcast yesterday. He said he might play Moreau's 2-3. But I just want to give a warning to everyone. Joanne Wood's been finished 5 times and they've all been in round 1. So you might get burnt if you try to play round 2 or 3 there. So maybe I'll play something there. I'm not sure. And then the Almabayev fight, I agree with you. You know, I think Almabayev probably gets a finish in that fight. Vergara, I think Vergara might get cracked on the feet, actually. I think everyone thinks that Almabayev has to just wrestle him. Otherwise, he's completely lost. And I don't actually agree with that. I think over a 50-minute fight, Vergara probably gets to him in terms of the pressure. But I do think that his chin's wide open. I think he walks into range like an idiot at times. And I think Almabayev can crack him hard. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Almabayev drop him or something. Kind of like how we saw in the Charles Johnson-Maxim fight. Everyone thought Maxim had to wrestle there. And he did over 15 minutes. But he can still catch him. So I think we might see that play out. So I'm picking both the favorites there. But I don't know if I'm going to bet it.
Yeah, that guy and the Charles Johnson, Kazakhstani guy, they're so similar, these two. They both kind of have decent records, and people are calling them frauds. They're decent. Yeah, they're not amazing, but they're decent fighters.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So you came in just for another high-level fight. Roman Despang versus Josh Parisian. I mean, what is there to say here? They know what they're doing. They gave Roman literally the worst fighter in the UFC, and surely one or two more fights and the guy's out of here. I can't stand to watch Parisian. Like, he's striking and he's just everything about this guy is truly awful. So yeah, they're setting him up for a KO. So it's either, you know, I wanted to say Rebellis, you know, round 1 KO props, but they're actually worse than the under 1.5 on Bet Online, which it's craziness. So I played a unit on the under 1.5. I just felt so dirty about it, and I haven't even tipped it out to the Discord or anything. I don't know. I felt like it should be like 85%. Like, even if Roman doesn't finish him, probably like gets taken down and, you know, looks awful on the ground, and Parisian does what he did in Contender Series, you know, just sits on him in mount and just starts pounding him out, and the guy cardio dies. So yeah, I have a unit there. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's a proper Degen play.
Yeah, I think it will hit, man. What price did you get?
$1.40, which minus 240, I guess. What is that, like 70%, 75%?
Right, probably wider than that, to be honest. There probably is value on that. It's always weird when we say there's value on a minus 240, you know, in MMA betting. I know a lot of people are allergic to saying that there's value on big prices, but that's why people miss out on a lot of money. And I think that minus 240 is probably value. You know, you don't give I think people are allergic to saying these things because if they're wrong, they look like a real idiot. Because if you're wrong on a plus 400, everyone's going to be like, oh, no, I took a plus 400. But if you're wrong on a minus 250, everyone's like, you're a moron. So people are scared to say it, I think, because we make content, right? But there's probably value on it, I would say, yeah, like close to 80% or something. I haven't played it myself. I wanted to play him KO1. I thought they'd give me like minus 110 on KO1, you know, because he was like...
That's what I thought.
It was like minus 300 or something. So I was like, all right, well, at least I'll get minus 110. And then I saw minus 210 or something. And I thought, all right, well, I won't be playing that. But yeah, I think he just knocks him out in round 1, to be honest, bro. I don't think Parisian's UFC caliber anyway. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, the only reason I played it is because the round 1 props were so disgusting. And it's like, how can it be worse than the under 1.5? That makes no sense.
Yeah, so I just do that a lot.
I just played it out of principle. So all right, let's move on. Hopefully it's a one-punch KO, and we don't have to watch this fight turn into what it could possibly turn into. Felipe Lins versus Ion Curalaba. I personally didn't even tape this fight. I taped it the first time. I know these guys were booked for a few times, and I just left thinking, this is a pass for me all around. It's like, you know, I want to play Lins. Actually, no, I don't want to play Lins. I know Lins is a better fighter, but it's like he needs to get through round 1 with Ion, and he's a chinny guy. So I think I poked round 1 KO and didn't feel amazing about it for Ion, and then the fight got scrapped. And I just didn't retape here, so I don't know if you like anything personally yourself.
No, I wished Ion was a bit of a better price. I thought he might be coming off Felipe Lins' recent run, and then obviously Cutelaba. Everyone looks at him as a round 1 fighter. I've seen a lot of people saying, you know, how can a round 1 fighter be favorite? But I mean, that doesn't make sense, right? Like, if he gets him out of there so many times in round 1, then he should be a favorite. That's all it really comes down to. The reason he's a round 1 fighter is because he knocks motherfuckers out in round 1. You know, he's a force to be reckoned with in round 1. And Felipe Lins, yeah, he looked all right against Grishin. He wrestled. He's gone to a bit more of a wrestling game plan. he blasts through OSP. All right, I don't really care. I mean, imagine what Cutelaba would do to OSP. It would probably be faster, to be honest. So I don't take anything from that. I think that Linz is there to be finished in round one. I genuinely do. I think I'll probably just play. I'll probably just play Cutelaba round one at this point. I mean, I'll check the odds, right? It might be like ridiculous, but Cutelaba round one, Cutelaba TKO or something like that might be better than this money line. But yeah, I'm picking him to win in round one, but I ain't got a bet on it yet.
Nice. That's what I played last time, but I remember it being not amazing, to be honest. Like the odds were a bit underwhelming.
It's worth a little flyer though. You're going to get plus 200 at least. I would assume. So I mean, it's a worth a flyer, I reckon.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. But it's like when you play these round ones, you know, I expect at least $4 or $5 minimum. But yeah, not the best fight. Yeah. Alrighty. Michel Pereira, versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. So I don't know, man. This is a pass for me because I taped when Lord was plus 140, and I thought to myself, this will be an easy play on the dog, right? And there's a lot of relevant tape. You know, one of the first times Lord struggled with lateral footwork was against Bukaskis, and he was kind of hurt a couple of times there. I'm not a fan of Bukaskis whatsoever. And then you know, as you go through his tape, you know, you've got Kaya Bohayo. He's another karate guy, in and out, left and right. Threw up a knee as well as the Lord was coming in, flying knee, just the same way that Pereira does. And there's a lot of tape, obviously, of Pereira getting pressured, which is what Mikhail's going to do. You know, you got Fila, you got Nico Price, Chaos Williams, Santiago Ponzinibbio. But I still left like not being able to get a read personally, just mostly because the Lord, I still can't get a read on his cardio. You know, like he's kind of looking average whenever he extends. And obviously that's the same issue with Michel Pereira, but I don't know what it looks like at middleweight, right? We only had one fight, whereas the middleweight fight against Kaya Bohayo, Michel kind of fell apart. Lord kind of fell apart in round two, and it was just ran through him. And that's still the only person Kaya has ever submitted in the UFC. So I don't think his grappling's improved much. You know, and Brundage backpacked him. I definitely think Pereira should be favored. I get, you know, I think he's going to be an animal at middleweight. He can be pressured, but it's hard to find the beat on him. He's really good at getting damage and points on people that are pressuring him. You know, his teep and everything, it's solid. So I don't know, man. I think this is accurate, and I think that's my read. Actually, I do now discussing it. I think that's my read. It's accurate, and I don't have a strong take, or I definitely don't have a bet here. What about you?
I'm not going to have a bet either, I don't think, unless Michel goes to like plus 140, like the place that, or the price that you said he was at one point. I didn't even know he was plus 140, to be honest. I only seen him recently.
Yeah, it was like 2 days ago, and a bit of money came in on Pereira, and I didn't know who, but it makes sense. I'm seeing it all over Twitter now. I'm seeing like 4-unit shots on Pereira by like cappers and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I feel like I read these two decently well. I mean, I played Michel in his last fight, and that was a bit of a sweat, you know. That it seemed like that was probably a 50-50 fight. The only thing I will say is Michel's got the grit and the durability upside, so probably should have been a favorite there. I played him at Pick'em. And then Pereira in his last fight also played him against Petrosky, who he knocked out in round one. I've played Pereira decision against a couple of guys. I feel like this fight's fairly 50-50 because I think the later it goes, the more it favors Oleksiejczuk. You know, he does gas out, but Pereira gasses out as well. And I think in order for Pereira to stay safe, he's probably going to need to be moving constantly. I don't think he can kind of rest at any point because Oleksiejczuk's going to keep walking forward. And as we know, you know, fighting on the back foot is a lot more tiring than fighting on the front foot. So I think that the later the fight goes, Pereira might get quite tired. But I also think he has massive upside in round one to sting Michel, knock Michel out. I also think that he can hurt him so badly in round one that the next rounds are not as competitive as they could be because Oleksiejczuk's just hurt. You know, maybe he's going to bust up his eye. Maybe he's going to hurt his body. Maybe he's going to be tentative because he almost got knocked out. So I feel like it's like close to 50-50, but I did pick Pereira to win slightly. I said he should be like minus 125. So minus 170, I or minus 150 is probably a little bit wide for me, but yeah, it's not wide enough for me to take a poke. If anything, I'd play like Oleksiejczuk 2-3 or something like that, but I'm probably just going to pass overall, man.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I tend to think that Pereira is incredibly durable, and the Lord cracks, but it's still hard to get a strong read on both of them. The last guy to knock out Pereira was Dushka, and that fight looked so weird. Like no one's ever run through him like that. I don't think Dushka even hits that hard, to be honest. Like he legit doesn't have a KO on the feet in the UFC. So it's just weird between the both of these guys. Weird capping these two guys, to be honest. So happy to pass.
Yeah, it's a big pass fight, I reckon, man.
Yeah. No, I was just disappointed because I was looking for bets and I'm like, surely plus 140 on Lord. This is the one. And I was like, nah, I can't do it.
Yeah, I probably would play it if it hit there. Like I would be forced to play it at 140, but 138, like I wouldn't play it. So 140 is, you know what I mean? Like 140 is probably the minimum I would need, and I don't think it's going to get there again. So
yeah, I probably overthought it at that point. But who knows, man? After the first round where Pereira's like TPing him and stuff and racking up 1-2s on him, maybe we'll get better than that live. So
yeah.
Alrighty, Pedro Munoz, Carla Phillips. This is another dog or pass for me. I know some sharps on Pedro, and I get it. You look at Phillips; he's really, really good. He's really dynamic. He's got so many tools, man. He's got the kicks to the head, to the body, to the calf, the 1-2. He mixes in takedowns. He's a Gracie black belt. He's got it all. His wrestling solid too. His get-ups are good. It's just the cardio and slowing down late sometimes, and literally gives up round 3. I don't want to go through his whole record, but I know he gave it up against Barcelos. He gave it up against Paiva. Gave it up against Song. So, you kind of hope that he's up, if you're betting him, that he's up 2-0 because you just know that he's going to give it up, just skirt around and stuff. The thing here is Pedro Munoz's worst round is round 3 as well. That he starts off technical and he's more composed now, less hittable in round 1. Had a really competitive round 1 with Vera and won round 1 against Gutierrez and actually really competitive with O'Malley. I think he won it on a couple of judges' scorecards. Yeah. Dropped Cruz, but when he gets to round 3, Aldo, Cruz, they all just start lighting him up. Even Vera, that just busted him up like crazy in round 3. So it's a bit of an issue. Who's going to be winning up until round 3 when they both slow down and they both start giving up more points. But I feel like I just have to trust Kyle, to do better because Pedro at his age and how plotting he is, he kind of needs to intercept Phillips coming in with something the way he intercepted Cruz. But I don't know, man. He seems to have a really good chin, Phillips. But then against Paiva, he was kind of got dropped a couple of times. I don't think Paiva hits as hard as some of these other guys like Barcelos, etc. But yeah, it's a dog or pass. But I'm not really excited about 36-year-old Munoz in this matchup in the big cage too. What about you?
Yeah, I think you have to play Pedro in this fight, man. I don't think Kyler Phillips can be minus 250 in this spot. It reminds me of the Gutierrez fight, the exact same price. A guy who was, kind of hyped at the time. He had a few wins in his last fights, and Pedro 30-27'd him. You can call it what it was. It was a 30-27 in my books. And all right, Kyler Phillips probably wins round 1, but wouldn't you say that Sean O'Malley probably wins round 1 against Pedro as well? And he didn't win round 1, man. He lost round 1. So I'm not saying it's 100% guarantee he wins round 1. I don't think he's going to be able to grapple here. The thing about Kyler Phillips is he wins a lot of fights via grappling, or he wins a lot of rounds via grappling. Yeah? And he's even got ground and pound finishes. So I don't think he's going to be able to grapple in this fight. So then it's on the feet. And he's got about 7 minutes of, dancing around the octagon doing this beautiful taekwondo, which is beautiful, to be honest. That head kick he hit on Song, one of the craziest head kicks that didn't rock anyone I've ever seen. Song's got an unreal chin, and we'll get to him a little bit later. But after 7 minutes, the guy falls off a cliff. I definitely trust Pedro way more the later the fight goes. I know you're saying Pedro doesn't have great round 3s as well, but Kyler Phillips is dying in round 3 every time, man. Like, the guy is barely surviving. I always watch it and go, this guy could be finished in round 3, if the opponent pushes the pace a little bit more. So, yeah, I like Munoz here. I think he's being undervalued. There's a big age difference. We have to speak about that. It's very, very important in MMA. Big age differences. Oftentimes, the younger guy does win, but not all the time, man. I don't understand how Kyler Phillips is a massive favorite. To be honest, this is one of those lines where I'm looking at it and I'm going, how the fuck is he minus 250? Like, I don't understand it. And then I start second guessing myself. Is there something I don't know? Because most of the time when I'm betting on an underdog, and I have bet on Pedro, I can understand why the line is why it is, but maybe I see the fight differently. Like I said last week or the week before, I bet on Brandon Royval, massive underdog, right? Plus 240, plus 270 I got. But I knew why he was plus 270, right? Obviously the takedowns, I knew what the market was seeing. I don't understand what the market's seeing at minus 250. I understand what they're seeing at minus 160. I don't understand what they're seeing here. So maybe I'm just not reading the fight correctly, but I think you have to take Pedro here. I think you have to take a shot on him.
Yeah, that's fair, man. I can't disagree. It's clear dog or pass. For me, I have to play a bit of devil's advocate. Obviously, I think Gutierrez is a bit of a bum. Shouldn't even be ranked there. So it was a much easier click against Gutierrez, who kind of flakes in there as well. I just think he's a bit more dynamic, Kyle. So even though you can't take him down, there's kicks and the punches. Whereas O'Malley, he didn't really put anything on his strikes in round one. So it was kind of like a sparring fight where Pedro outstruck him. I also had Pedro against Chito Vera, and I thought I was up 2-0 before he went into 3. He was putting on a lot of volume, but rewatching it now, for tape, I'm like, all right, props to Vera. He was his jab and everything improved in that fight. He wasn't landing anywhere near as much, but he was definitely landing the cleaner strikes, and he was checking everything too. I might come around to this one, man. I don't know. Also, I want to say I haven't seen anyone really target calf kicks against Phillips. All I saw was Barcelos a couple of times, which he didn't really check and didn't really bother him. But it's probably a different story if Munoz calf kicks you. He's always in and out on that lead foot, If he kind of kills that leg, that movement could be completely compromised.
Yeah.
I know someone else I really respect on Pedro. It's one of his favorite bets. Maybe I'm just missing something.
I feel like Phillips flakes a little bit as well. In the Piver fight, he flaked. In the Victor Henry fight, he flaked. In the Barcelos fight, round 3, it was looking like he was flaking. I think if the fight's not going his way, because he gets tired, he flakes a little bit. So, Pedro might be able to bring that out of him as a veteran.
Yeah, I think flake is a subjective word. I think he still fights for your money. He's a lot of his gas is completely gone. I think flaking would be just like, pulling out or something and staying on his back for 5 minutes, not bothering to get. He still throws down.
Yeah, probably the wrong word.
Yeah, it becomes very sloppy. Very sloppy. Alrighty. Mateus Gamrot, Rafael dos Anjos. I taped this back in the day when someone said there's value at $1.40. Gamrot, I passed because he was a 3-rounder. I think he wins, but I don't see much value here. I wouldn't even play decision. You never know what could happen. You saw in the last fight, free KO against Fiziev. So yeah, I just think he's going to rack up takedowns against dos Anjos. He might not be able to control him, but probably going to be enough against the 40-year-old dos Anjos to win an uninspiring decision.
Gamrot's had some good luck in the UFC, man. He got that decision against Arman Sarukian that he didn't deserve when I bet him at plus 200. So shout out to the variance there. And then he got that decision against Jalen Turner, which I don't know, bro. I was on Jalen Turner there, so I'm going to be biased about that fight, but I don't think he covered minus whatever. It looked like a pick'em fight to me. And then Diego Ferreira randomly just got TKO'd by a knee to the fucking ass or wherever it was. Like, that was so weird. And then the Fiziev, yeah, the rib. There's some. I don't even know if I've ever seen that before. And then in the Fiziev fight, guy just gets injured. It's just like crazy, bro. This guy's got some mad luck, but he's a good fighter. We don't take away from his fighting skills. The guy's gonna single leg ankle pick you to death. He's got very good cardio. He's gonna keep pushing through. His boxing is improving. It's decent boxing. I don't know, man. I don't know about this fight. I got weird vibes about this fight, and it's weird because like 50% of the time, my weird vibes they come true, and then 50% of the time they don't. So I should probably just ignore them. But it's hard to ignore them when you get that gut feeling. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about as well. And in this fight, I just feel like Gamrot ain't going to be able to hold him down because Gamrot's got bad control. And I feel like dos Anjos can do some shit on the feet. He's a veteran at this point. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad. I don't know. This is at lightweight, right?
It is. That's the other issue.
Yeah, so that's actually fucking crazy. I didn't know it was at lightweight until like 2 hours ago. So my entire breakdown, all my tape study, I had no idea it was at lightweight. I guess I just assumed it was at welterweight. Someone
Yeah. So
Jewish better.
he said he's given up on cutting weight because he's not a title challenge anymore. Went up to middle welterweight, and
Yeah.
now he's cutting weight and fighting one of the lightweight contenders again. So I'm not really understanding this fight whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand it, but he's getting taken down throughout his entire career, man. Back to the Khabib fight, that has been his issue. Even in the Vicente Luque fight, that was a bad look, bro. The guy got like 6-7 takedowns on him, so that's not a good look, man. But I don't see this fight being a washout. I see this fight being a 29-28 either way. I feel like Gamrot's going to win, but it's going to be minus EV like he always does. I think Gamrot's going to win and look minus 150 or something shit like that. So maybe someone's going to convince me to play Rafael dos Anjos for like a 1.5 unit or something. Because I felt the exact same way as Zahabi. I broke it down on my parlay stream last week with my guy Jewish Better. He bet on Zahabi. I said this is dog or pass. We wrote Zahabi plus 550 down on our little notepad to maybe bet it. I didn't make the bet because I thought Basharat's going to win, but he's going to win a minus EV decision. But sometimes when the margins ain't going to be close, or when the margins are going to be close, you have to take these fighters that you think are going to lose because the judges are kind of fucked anyway, So Basharat had an argument to win that fight, but I feel like Dos Anjos might have an argument to win this one, but his activity is so low, man. Gamrot's going to be pumping out way more volume, even on the feet. So I don't know, man. I hate this fight because I feel like I'm forced to bet like a 400, but I don't know if I'm going to do it, bro. So that's my breakdown. I wouldn't be playing Gamrot at all.
No, you don't have to play anything, mate. Just move on. Speaking of not playing anything and moving on, Caitlin Caminara versus Macy Barber. Caitlin Chukagian, for anyone that doesn't remember who this girl is. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, this is one fight I didn't get a chance to properly tape. I was going to do it half an hour before I went live today, but I kind of slept in. It's 8 a.m. here. So you don't get time sometimes. But I don't really understand why money is still coming in on Macy Barber at minus 200. Right? I was only going to tape to see if I was taking a Caitlin stab. So maybe you can tell me if you're one of the guys that play this Barber line.
Nah, I'm not, mate. To be honest, before I looked at the fight, I thought I might play it. In my head, I was like, oh yeah, Barber's just gonna run through her. Caitlin, she's been off for a long time. She's 35 years of age. Macy's on an upswing. But then you watch it, and is Macy really on an upswing? What, she knocked out Rebus, who's got absolutely no chin. Rebus has got no chin, man. She gets wobbled in like every single fight she's ever been in history. So I don't take
weight class too.
Yeah, and I was very close to playing the under and Barber there. I was extremely, extremely close. It's like it wasn't a shocking outcome for me. I actually predicted the outcome to happen, and for some reason, I didn't bet the under at plus money. I don't know. I think because it jumped down to like 150, and I was like, I don't want to do that. But yeah, I didn't take much from that win. I thought she would win. She also got taken down in that fight, and she didn't look great before the knockout, in my opinion. Andrea Lee fight, she didn't look great in that fight. Probably lost the fight. Miranda Maverick fight, didn't look great in that fight. Probably lost the fight. Like, I don't know, man. The thing is, all of those girls grappled her, and then Caitlin's not going to grapple her. So that's a big, big issue in this fight, right? Like, she has struggled with grappling in the past, but she ain't going to get grappled in this fight. But Caitlin Chukagian's still going to be able to dance on the outside. She's the queen of that, making her noises and all of that, which are kind of like notorious now. But they do work, and she's got better range control. I think this might be another Gamrot one where it's like a minus EV win for Barber. So I don't know, man. There's probably some value on Caitlin. I mean, there is value on Caitlin, in my opinion, man. But I don't know if I'm going to bet it. I'll see. I'll probably, I might tape it a little bit more. As horrible as that sounds, I might have to do it.
It's a clear dogger pass. Alrighty. Curtis Blades versus Gelton Almeida. Now, this one is the one I take first because all the boys are on Curtis Blades. And, not to be contrarian, but I left thinking that I would rather play Gelton Almeida. Here's my thought process. There's not much takedowns. Thank you very much. Let's go to coffee. There's not much takedowns from obviously Blades. I think people are posting it on Twitter. It's 2 times the Cody East fight, and
Welcome.
once against Volkov, which back the good old days when I used to parlay stuff and I anchored everything with Blades, and when winning $1,000 on a card when my units were 100 was the best feeling ever. I was sweating bullets in round 4 or 5 against Volkov.
Same.
But yeah, I wish I could find anchors to just anchor all my parlays with these days. Maybe there's someone on this card. But yeah, and I left thinking, sure. I left thinking maybe he's not the best defensive wrestler. Yes, those fights were a while away, and you can, people making excuses. Oh, he was tired. He didn't expect it. He's going to expect it here. But everything I saw is that he's not the best at stopping takedowns. Like even the Daniel Omilenchik fight, which was another awful fight. Every now and then, Curtis Blades has an awful fight against the guy that he should run through, right? That was the Omilenchik fight. The Derek Lewis is the other one. And you could say Jairzinho was the other one too, right? He could have easily just mauled Jairzinho for 3 rounds, and he just ended up looking very tepid on the feet, and his entries were horrible, and he almost got KO'd by a stepping knee. And Omilenchik goes on that leg, and he's just like focusing on the elbows to the side of the head, and he was doing the same thing to Cody East. That's how he KO'd him. And then completely gassed Omilenchik just starts turning the corner and like getting on top of him. And it's like this guy he just doesn't focus enough on stuffing the takedown, right? He's always concerned about the ground and pound, and you see it all the time. The best guys that stuff the takedowns are like Bilal Muhammad, instantly sprawl, disengage, and move away. Don't worry about other things. Don't let him get in on your hips. So yeah, that's my little thing. I do believe Gelton gets him down, and he's the best wrestler hands down. Also, no one's really trying to get him down, and anyone that's ever tried to get him doon took him down, even though they're random bummy fighters like Cody East and Volkov never wrestles. So I do feel like Almeida gets him down, and then after that, it's like, what the hell happens when someone like Blades, who's notoriously stupid, he's on his back, and he's a good wrestler, and notoriously really good wrestlers, especially in the higher weight classes, they're not really good off their back. Like, what is he? Does he have some elite guard off his back? Curtis Blades, I just don't see it. So I'll lean Almeida, man, just because of the questions. And if this turns into everyone thinks that he's going to stuff his takedowns and it's going to be a 3-round striking fight and Almeida's not good at striking. But, what if it turns into a jiu-jitsu match? Because Almeida will keep shooting. He's not just going to give up after 2 takedowns. He's going to keep shooting. And what if Blades, does what he usually does and uses his own takedowns to put stamps on rounds, and then Almeida hits him with that half guard sweep and gets on top, and now Blades is gassed. I also have a feeling Blades is going to gas out from constantly defensively wrestling. We've never seen that before. Then it's going to be Almeida's game. That 30-pound advantage is not going to matter so much. 30 pounds doesn't matter when it's jiu-jitsu. Someone's much better in jiu-jitsu. So, yeah, that's how I lean. I haven't played it because it does feel like it's most likely a pick'em fight where I'm not getting much of an edge. But, yeah, Almeida will pass for me. Maybe if we get a little bit more plus money, I get tempted, but nothing at the moment. No play and no interest on any of the totals either. It's a lot of questions on this fight.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you've said a lot of people are on Blades, because I'm on Almeida there, so that's probably a good sign. Almeida's going to beat Curtis Blades, bro, and he's going to finish him. Curtis Blades hasn't dealt with anyone like this in his entire career. He's probably never dealt with anyone like this in his training room. There's a reason Almeida is making it look easy in the UFC. He made it look easy against Derek Lewis, and everyone thinks that because of that fight, he should be less of a favorite as they was when they was first booked. So they was first booked and he was like minus 200 against Blades. And everyone's like, yeah, we're going to bet Blades plus 180. And then he fights Derek Lewis, shows 5-round cardio, tosses Derek Lewis around like a little strawweight woman. And now he's a minus 110. Plus 105, plus 108 they gave me. So, yeah, man, Almeida's just a different level, to be honest. Different beast. Curtis Blades never seen this before. He's very athletic. He's going to shoot. He's going to get his leg. He's going to take him down. Curtis Blades not going to be able to stop the takedown over 5 rounds. I mean, over 3 rounds. He ain't going to be able to stop the takedown over 1 round, right? But he definitely ain't going to be able to stop the takedowns for the entire fight. And Jalton's just too good on the ground, bro. Like, Curtis Blades ain't got that jiu-jitsu pedigree, man. This is a Brazilian guy, man. The guy grew up with jiu-jitsu. Like, he's going to run through Curtis Blades on the ground, in my opinion. Okay, it's heavyweight. Curtis Blades has very good boxing. I like Curtis Blades' boxing, actually. I think it's good. I think he's got good leg kicks. It's not impossible for Curtis Blades to win the fight, but Jailton Almeida is going to win this fight, and I'm going to cash money on him doing it.
Easy peasy. You got me excited to ride with you for at least half a unit.
Let's go, bro.
Blades is a D1 wrestler, going to be 40 pounds bigger on the day. Almeida never met. This is the take why everyone is playing Blades, and I just feel like it's a bit narrow-sided, to be honest.
But what do you mean D1 wrestler? Who has, like, what, has he just been stopping takedowns for his career, though? He hasn't.
And yeah, it's like wrestlers are bad off their back. That's the issue here. That's the issue.
And he's fucking 260 pounds, man. You lift one leg up and he's just going to fall over by default anyway.
Yeah. Alrighty. We don't have much time for this main card, but let's see what we can do. Peter Yan versus Song Yadong. This, I'll make it quick. This is a pick 'em for me. I don't have any strong reads. I actually stopped taping halfway through. I see this as a competitive boxing fight. And yeah, two durable guys where it goes to a decision where they probably respect each other. And yeah, I got nothing, man. Peter Yan might wrestle. Song Yadong is incredibly hard to hold down. I have no idea. It's a pass fight for me. I don't see an edge whatsoever.
Yeah, I think this is a pass fight as well, mate. Similar to the next fight we'll speak about, and then whatever one I spoke about last time, Pereira fight. But I think, like, it's funny because on my initial breakdown a couple of days ago, I said Song by split decision. And now I'm kind of flipped to Peter by a split decision. So I haven't changed massively, but I do think there's a little bit more upside for Peter Yan after watching mainly the Cody Stamen fight, to be honest. You know, I think Peter Yan might be a little bit undervalued because of his recent losses. You know, he's on a massive loss streak, free fight loss streak after being the champion, you know, top 3 pound for pound or wherever he was. Yadong Song's a good fighter, but I think Peter Yan's a much better technical striker, to be honest. I think he's actually a better boxer. I think he's a way better kicker. I think his timing is way better. I just think Song's a beast, very physical, and has got a hard punch. So I think Peter Yan beats him in almost all of MMA, to be honest, bro. But in my opinion, it comes down to Peter Yan's mental state, because I know he's had issues with his camp. I know he's had issues with his coaches over the last couple of fights. And, you know, I don't know where he's at with that now. I heard that he's doing better with that now. You know, he's in Thailand again. He always goes out to Thailand. But I just don't know where he is mentally, bro, to be honest. Like, he was the king of the king. And then he's been, you know, dominated against Merab, which was a bad loss for him. And I just don't know where he is mentally. And mental is a massive thing in MMA. And, you know, it's often underrated. You know, people do speak about the mental game, but I don't speak about it enough, to be honest, because some of my biggest wins have come from the mental game. You know, I thought Brandon Moreno mentally wasn't going to be there after losing to the champion, going 0-3 against him, winning the title 2 times, 4 fights against Figgy. Mentally, that drains you, bro. And I think that's what we saw in that fight against Royval. Mentally, he wasn't there, right? And I do think that's a big thing in MMA. So I don't know if Yan's going to be there mentally. If I knew Yan was coming in all cylinders firing, if I knew we had the Yan versus Sandhagen, I would bet on Yan here in a heartbeat. I would even lay juice on him. But I'm probably just going to pass overall. But I'll pick Yan to win a decision, a close decision.
Nice. Alrighty. I just want to say, as a tidbit before we move on, Yan was definitely compromised against Merab. I think looking at that fight, you can't. If some people say that's an excuse, he said his shoulder and leg was hurt. One calf kick from Merab, who can't bust the grape, and the guy's limping. You're telling me that Merab was the first guy to hurt Peter Yan in a fight? Like, don't be silly. This guy was taking insane amount of punishment, and so it just makes the fight even harder to cap, you know? Like, is he washed? Is he injured? Is he coming in with injuries again? Like, I don't like fighters that come in with 2 injuries and instead of pulling out, you know? As a gambler, I don't like it because it just makes it puts my money at risk, to be honest. Alrighty. We did it, boys. Just like last week, if you tuned in this whole time, you get rewarded with my only bet of the card. So thanks for staying by after 44 minutes.
This is my biggest bet of the card, so we're going to see if we're going head-to-head here, bro.
Oh, no. Here we go. I mean, there's a lot of line movement, so I think we're on the same side.
Yeah, okay.
Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. So I played Jack like 2 weeks ago when I had plus 220. I played 1.5 units. I didn't go in depth, I'll be honest. I just felt like this line, there is no way that Jack is going to stay as a favorite, as a dog for, you know, too long. And I played 1.5 units. I felt like 2 units was probably going to be too crazy for me. And I retaped it properly this week, just to confirm if we're cashing out or reducing. Obviously, you've got a lot of CLV, almost $1. And I felt comfortable. I felt like, what? I get it. There's a path where Burns can wrestle for 3 rounds like he did against Wonderboy and just completely avoid any sort of damage and, sneak out a 1 or 2 and hold on for dear life if he's on top, because Jack Melena kind of likes scrambles, to stand up, and he gives his back to stand up. And I do believe Burns has the cardio to wrestle for 3 rounds. But yeah, just you can't not, take into consideration Jack's power, the durability, his amazing boxing, how hard he hits, and Burns just, overhand rights, old, kind of injury ridden, getting completely shut down by Bilal. His last few wins, Wash Masvidal. I think the reason he was actually a favorite is because the overreaction to how well he did against Kamzat, who Kamzat came in there, decided to brawl, and still won a decision, and people, just thinking Burns did so well in there. But he gave him the overhand right, and Burns just kept landing the overhand right. But yeah, I got 1.5 units to win like over $2,000 on Jack, and I actually feel like I should just let it ride. Doesn't mean it's going to win. Stranger things have happened. This is the biggest step up for Jack. But if you look at his career, man, every single fight that he's had a step up, I would say Hafez is even a step up in a weird way. Sure, he's not the best guy, but on 1 week's notice, a guy that's going to shoot like that's incredibly durable. The Jack, Jack usually finishes 90% of people. And then he came up against Holland, and Holland, a composed Holland, which we'll talk about later. He didn't do anything stupid for 3 rounds, and his striking looked great in there. And, to me, Jack still won a 30-27 there. That shouldn't have been a split. He's improving. So, yeah, I think conservatively, I can give him 55% for the youth and the durability. But I think maybe 60%, that's a lot of value on my plus money. So I'm most likely going to leave the 1.5 units.
Did you get it at plus 120 or plus 220?
Plus 120. I might have said 220. My bad. I get the dollars because it's $2.20.
Yeah.
Plus 120. I get it mixed up all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm on the same side, bro. I think JDM's gonna knock him out.
Let's go.
Yeah, bro. The countryman's gonna do it. I think his boxing's too clean, too crisp. The reason he's undefeated in the UFC. I mean, everyone's looking at the Alev fight. I mean, long time ago, of course. Like, look, this is a one where I understand why Jack isn't like a massive favorite. I mean, the lines move now, that happens obviously. But when I bet it wasn't huge. But I understand why, right? We've seen him been troubled by Lusa. We've seen him in trouble by a move, by Hafez, all of these guys, right? I don't know, man. Gilbert Burns is an old motherfucker now. I think he looked terrible against Bilal Muhammad. I think JDM's only getting better. I think JDM stuffed 90% of takedowns against Hafez. And I know for a fact Gilbert Burns ain't going to shoot 20 takedowns here. The only reason JDM got taken down is because he jumped guillotine like a moron. And I don't think he's going to do that in this fight because he learned that he almost lost the fight last time, right? So I can trust him to not be a moron in this fight. Maybe I'm wrong. We have to make guesses at the end of the day. I think that he's going to knock out Burns, bro. I think it's going to be a brutal knockout. Body, head combination. Burns' durability ain't what people think it is. He's been dropped how many times in his UFC career? He ain't been knocked out a lot. He got knocked out by Hooker back in the day, a New Zealander, and now another Aussie's going to knock him out. Outside of that, he only got knocked out by Kamaru Usman, the elite striker who knocks everyone out, Kamaru Usman. So I don't know, man. I think JDM's going to finish him brutally.
Let's hope so, mate. Let's hope so. That Alev fight, he was pick'em against Alev, and I played him there too. And that showed me all I need to see. If he gets taken out, he's going to get up and he's going to win the round back with body shots against the cage. That's what he does. So,
thing is, if he gets put in that same choke that Alev put him in, Gilbert Burns probably finishes that choke, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, Gilbert Burns doesn't have a Das choke. That's the thing. Like, maybe the arm triangle is the only thing I'd worry about, to be honest. But
yeah, Lusa had him in that.
Yeah, but I liked what I seen. I liked no fear and being composed and relaxed. That's how you get out of subs.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Kevin the Trailblazer, Holland versus Michael Venom Paige. I'm excited about this fight, but I have a feeling that this is going to be a horrible fight. Like I thought Wonderboy versus Holland was going to be horrible, but that was still a crazy Holland. But I think this new composed Holland that actually is at welterweight and cares about being ranked, and he was more patient, like the JDM fight. I think this is going to be a staring match, and Paige has had a boring fights for a hot minute now. Just dances around, does nothing. So I just think these guys are going to stare at each other, dance around. I can't get a personal read. I don't know. I'm getting tempted by the Paige plus money, but then I'm getting tempted by the Holland minus money. So it's pass for me. I do think that Holland has all the finishing upside and all the durability upside, but I don't think he can. I don't want to say that. I don't know if he can finish Paige. That's what I want to say. So I've got nothing here, man.
I think Paige always has some finishing upside in any fight, bro. I mean, the guy is so dynamic. He can always hit a flying knee. He can always hit a spinning back kick. He's actually got heavy hands as well. It's just that he dances around so much and he doesn't land them a lot. But I definitely think he can finish Holland here. So I wouldn't say Holland has all the finishing upside. I do think that Holland has a little bit more, though, because I think that his chin might be a little bit better. I don't think it's majorly different, to be honest. And I think he's more easily hit. But on the ground, I think Holland can kind of fuck him up, to be honest. But I don't know if Holland's going to grapple. Everyone's talking about if Holland's going to grapple or not. And that's basically the story of the fight, in my opinion. Paige is a better striker. Paige probably going to, leg kick him, teep kick him, not teep kick, but like side kick, do all of that shit. Might land like a big knee or something like that. I can see the fight going many ways, just like you. I can actually see MVP landing a flying knee, knocking him unconscious. Brutal, crazy debut. But he's 37 years old in 27 days, and he's making his UFC debut against a good fighter. So there's no way I'm playing this. This is a massive pass. I'm going back and forth on who I'm picking. I'll pick Michael Paige. The boy's from London. I'm going to root for him. London shoot fighters, good gym out of London there. So I'll root for Michael Venom Paige, but pass fight.
Alrighty. Dustin Poirier, Benoit Saint-Denis, my favorite fight of the card. This is going to be amazing. There's no way this fight doesn't live up to it unless they kill each other, which would be kind of bittersweet. I wanted to see a war between Frivola as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I only just found out it's just 5 rounds, which just blew my mind even more. What a great fight. Hopefully it extends and we see another Poirier war. If it does extend, I think he does beat Benoit Saint-Denis. I don't think he can do what he does for 5 rounds, personally. But I really wanted to like Poirier, man. Just why can't he do what Zaleski did, Like, heard him a couple of times, stuff a takedown here and there. But it's just like, I think Zaleski is more of the man when it comes to fighting this anti-grappling style. I bet him against that other Russian. I think you did too. The one that he should have beat, but he went to a draw. He's just seen this. Yeah. He's seen this style so many times, whereas Poirier just loves to get taken down and loves to get his back taken, and he's not as good at shutting grapplers down, and he's always getting hurt as well. So he just got knocked out by a head kick in the last one.
Yeah,
Gaethje's much better though. So yeah, I can't, man. I'm not going to lay the juice on Benoit Saint-Denis, but I would be lying if I didn't consider it last night when I take this fight. Just as like someone that's going to run through Poirier, which is kind of sad. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like because we have 5 rounds, I might just leave this one and hopefully get a good live bet. The over minus 200, probably goes over 1.5 rounds. The under 2.5 rounds, that's got my attention. $1.71. I just noticed that on Bet365. That's pretty much the only thing I like here. I think Benoit Saint-Denis, he's just a savage, man. Even with his grappling, he will not let up, and his cardio blows me away as well. So, yeah, I got no lean here. Dog or pass, I guess, but I like the under, $1.70, 2.5 rounds.
But if you said it goes over 1.5, do you really like the under for an extra, 5 minutes?
Well, I'm not confident it goes under 1.5. I think it just depends on... I looked at it. I was kind of reading out the price.
I like the over 1.5 a little bit better, I guess, because I don't think it finishes in round 1. I'm pretty confident it doesn't finish in round 1. So then I have to leave. I have to like the over a little bit. But yeah, the grappling hole is just too big here, man. It's just massive. Poirier's fought strikers for his entire career. if you go back and look at Poirier, anytime he's fought a grappler, he's got in major trouble or got defeated. The Michael Chandler fight was horrible, bro. Like, that was terrible look for Dustin Poirier. He was getting taken down easily. UFC stats said he stuffed 4 takedowns. I don't know, bro. I don't know if you think that, but I watched the fight literally a couple of days ago, and the guy just got taken down at will by Michael Chandler. It was easy. So I don't know what they're talking about stuffing 4 takedowns. Maybe it was like a half a shot or something. And not only that, Michael Chandler, the great jiu-jitsu guy, got so many positions on him where he could have finished him. That whole round 2, he was just elbowing the hell out of him from guard, past guard a couple of times. Round 2, I believe, again, it was where he got his back, had the rear naked choke, but it was over his face. It was kind of, you know what I mean? Doesn't really know what to do there. Benoit Saint Denis gets that position. He probably finishes. Maybe not even by a submission, but even TKO. He's just going to reap his leg and just pound him out like he did against Thiago Moises. The thing is, Dustin Poirier is a dog, man. I mean, even that photo we're looking at right now, I mean, that just sums him up, you know, like the guy is a dog. He ain't going to give up on himself. He ain't going to quit. He's going to keep on coming forward, which is problematic for someone like BSD. I'll also point out the fact that on the feet, this isn't close. Benoit Saint Denis has a couple of kicks, but Poirier will box the head off him badly. I mean, BSD gets hit in the head so much. He's terrible boxer, to be honest. Defensive boxer, terrible. Gabriel Miranda was pinging his head back badly. Basically, everyone he fights lands on him. So I think that Poirier can, you know, tee off on him on the feet. But Poirier's old. I mean, he's just old in fight years. 35 is not the worst of all time, but got a 35-year-old. Again, this is a mental thing, you know. Like, I feel like Poirier's going to retire in the next 2 or 3 fights. Maybe one. He might retire after this fight. So it's like, do you really want to be backing a fighter that you believe is going to retire in 2 or 3 fights? Benoit Saint Denis ain't retiring anytime soon, man. That guy's going straight for the belt. If he wins this fight, he's going to fight for the title next, probably. He's probably going to fight Islam next. So, I mean, that's a massive thing in this fight, man. The mental aspect of the fight. When the going gets tough, I guess I trust Poirier, but I don't trust Poirier to stop the grappling. I think the grappling hole is just too big here. I think Benoit Saint Denis is going to win via grappling. I don't think it comes super early. I feel like if he finishes him, it's probably going to be round 3 or more. So maybe you look at something like 3, 4, 5, Benoit Saint Denis decision. The fight goes to decision at plus 500. I think that's wide. I don't really... I mean, I think both guys are very tough. I mean, we've seen Benoit Saint Denis take hellacious bombs from Zaleski dos Santos. And I don't think Poirier is going to land too much more damage on him than he did, to be honest. And yeah, that fight maybe should have been stopped, but that was up at welterweight. That was on his UFC debut. And Zaleski can stop takedowns. So I think even if Poirier is having success, Benoit's probably still going to get a takedown to be able to stall out action, even if he loses the round. So plus 500 for a goes to decision is actually kind of crazy. But I do tend to think that BSD finishes him in round 3 or something. Yeah, man, that's my prediction. I think I was gonna play BSD big at like pick'em, and then the line just went insane. And honestly, I thought the line would come back, and I'm kind of still waiting for the line to come back so I can bet BSD. But Poirier's a big fighter, you know. He's a very hyped up guy. Maybe they bet him. Maybe the public bets him. But yeah, I'm picking BSD anyway, man.
It's not coming back, dude. That line's not coming back.
I'm praying for it, bro. But I don't know. You know what? It came back a little bit. It's minus 200 on Bet Online, and it was minus 230. So, you know, if we get minus 190, you know, I can stomach it. I don't have to see the 2 there. It looks a bit better. Honestly, I do think that he's wider than minus 200, to be honest, bro. I think he probably wins the fight over 70% of the time. So, you know.
It's hard to get in his way. I'll be honest. I was really excited to fade him with Poirier. I was like, this is the guy, man. He's gonna box him off, and you know he's been in wars. Poirier can handle his pressure, but then you tape it, and it's like this guy is literally a Terminator. Like this guy, if he doesn't get killed, like you're fucked. Like, and if he didn't have such insane cardio, like what he did to Moises, he couldn't take Moises down for 4 minutes, but he wouldn't stop cage pushing him and kneeing him to the thigh. And it's like, I just see Poirier getting stuck there for 4 minutes until he eventually drags him down and then gets the hooks in and he just quits. I hate to say it, but I've seen Poirier quit before and get rear naked choked. So just, Hard to get in this guy's in his way. Shame about the line though. Alrighty, so I've probably got like 2 minutes. Sean O'Malley, Marlon Vera. I understand the line movement. It's hard. It's hard to jump on Vera pre-bet. It's hard to jump on him seeing that first fight. He was getting lit up. He was backing up. He hated the kicks. It's Vera, Vera in a nutshell. He's just too plotting for someone like O'Malley early. But I'll be lying if I'm not tempted. In a fight, you can just assume this goes 5 rounds because of how durable Vera is. Do I think O'Malley's the first guy to knock him out? I don't think so. He doesn't really overcommit like someone like Sterling. For him to get caught with a clean pull counter and flatlined. He would just be standing there with a flat guard, with a high guard, eating a lot of punishment. But he's very defensively sound. So if anything, he just ends up being a punching bag for a long time. But it's hard for me not to see him coming on late. That's not a strong take. Even against someone like O'Malley who has good footwork and maybe landing something in rounds 4 or 5. I want to say that first match, even though you can say it was a fluke, the elbows in guard, they were clean, and he knocked out O'Malley. And I do think O'Malley doesn't have a bad chin because I saw him take a lot of punishment from Jan, and he said he was concussed from that punch, and took some good shots in round 3. But yeah, that's we've seen that on tape. Vera knocked him out with 2 clean elbows, and he went limp. So wouldn't mind some pokes, some late round pokes, but that's all I'm interested in. I can't, the overs are completely juiced. If you're playing the unders, you're kind of relying on Cheeto to finish him, in my opinion. So yeah, maybe some round 4, round 5 pokes for Cheeto, $50 each, and then I just look to live bet it. I always look to live bet these pay-per-views because a lot of competitive title fights, and I don't have strong. Usually the lines accurately set. What about you, mate?
Yeah, I think Vera's the side here. I think he's got to be the side at massive underdog odds. Obviously, Sean O'Malley, we know what he's want to do. He's going to dance on the outside, a couple of leg kicks, 1-2s. He's a good striker. I think O'Malley's going to look beautiful at times, bouncing in and out of range. He's very clean. But Marlon Vera is going to come on late. Marlon Vera has leg kick. He has the durability upside. Yeah, man. He's got that mental thing against him where he's already beat him. I think he might be in his head a little bit. Again, I'm speaking about mental thing again. And that's always something we have to take into account. When a fighter's already fought the fighter, it just adds an extra % of volatility, especially with the way it went. Because he's been speaking about it as a fluke for a long time, but then he did get, elbowed unconscious almost. So, yeah, I like Vera here. I'm not going to say I'm super confident on him winning the fight, but I'm super confident that he ain't like plus 240 or something. I've never seen O'Malley go 5 rounds, and I have seen Vera go 5 rounds many times, and I've seen him look good late in every single fight he's ever fought. So, except for the Aldo fight where he got backpacked in round 3. So, yeah, man, I like Vera here.
Same, dude. I got a bit excited. I do agree about that dynamic, the mental dynamic too. You don't need Vera to have any more confidence, but I think he's going to have a ton of confidence coming in here. And not saying O'Malley will be scared, but he will want to win. There's extra pressure to prove that was a fluke. So yeah, I don't usually bet with those narratives, but I just have a feeling like this is the spot. You have to have a little poke. Wouldn't it be just such a weird world for Marlon Cheeto Vera to be a champion? When he got shut down by Sandhagen so easily.
Yeah, man.
Didn't even deserve this title shot.
That's the fight game, bro. Like, that's the fight game. We might get Mokaev as champion soon, That's just a weird game.
Well, it's pretty much Strickland, right? Strickland being the champ after losing to Cannonier, and then he goes and beats Easy. All right. So I'm going to save some time and say that both of our best bets is going to be Jack Della Mena. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I like Almeida as well. I want to say that because everyone's on Blade, so I want to say Almeida just to piss them off.
Let's go. I'll probably tell you, man. Hopefully it sticks. Hopefully we get 10 more cents on the dog line, But I know so many people that played Blade, so I'm why is it not moving, a bit more? I was hoping it would be 60%.
Yeah.
After a few days of movement. Anyway, boss, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming in nice and early. I know you like to you don't always like to wake up early, especially for other people's pods. Anything you want to plug?
No, bro. Thanks for having me on, man. Yeah, just go to LucrativeMMA on any social media to find me. Oh, and actually, I will plug. I'm doing a giveaway. I don't know if you saw this, but I'm doing a giveaway for UFC 300. So 2 tickets to UFC 300 I'm giving away. All you need to do is go to my Instagram page and literally like a photo and tag some people in the photo, like a traditional Instagram giveaway. And yeah, hopefully some of my followers, some people that watch me are going to get 2 free tickets to UFC 300. So good luck if you join the competition.
Fuck yeah, that's I might enter that myself. a reason to fly out to the USA.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I just want to say I'm doing a show with Lou, the prop show. It's going to be another early one at 8 a.m. He's a commentator for me, so thanks Lou, and I'll be doing it with Pepe. So jump in, listen to that. Anyway, thanks boss. Good to have you on. It's been a while. Always have a good show, and
Yes, sir.
good luck on your 2 bets because I'll have the same ones, and yeah, let's make some
Let's
cash.
go, bro. Thanks a lot, bro.
Thanks, boss.